You're listening to Common Sense and Beer, where we talk about the hard-hitting topics with a beer in hand and the occasional guest. Today is not such a day, though. I am your host, Kyle, and my co-host here,
Zach.
And we have the producer here who wants to remain silent. So I'll say his name for him, Joe. Don't worry, Joe. Don't speak. It's all right. And, yeah, I don't know, man. I really want to talk about the economy because I came home the other day and gas was up to like $4.19 a gallon. And that really just kind of irked the ever-loving crap out of me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just to see that along the highway there. But it definitely seems that like the interstate prices usually were like cheaper, and in town they would get higher, you know, like it almost seemed like it'd be more beneficial to either hit the interstate or cross that state line and just, you know, truck it.
Yeah.
And grab some gas up there.
That's crazy. I always thought, well, anyway, I should say when I was growing up, I always thought that the gas was more expensive along the highway. But it's not the case anymore. I know exactly what you're talking about. Because
Yep.
I went through your neck of the woods not too long ago, and it was
Well, that's what I mean. If like flip-flopped, right?
Yeah,
Like generally it's like, well, you would think they'd hike up the prices by the interstate because more people are driving there. So
yeah.
like, that
Was always my thought.
Supply
Yeah.
demand, you know, like
Exactly.
well, we're gonna make it more expensive there, but where people are just coming occasionally in town, you know, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
That's just the idea, but it flip-flopped, and it's unreal, man.
Yeah.
Because like I saw diesel getting up there, and I just couldn't believe it because you know diesel prices are going to affect everything.
Yeah.
Because with the transportation of the goods of
Yep.
anything, that's going to make the cost of absolutely everything go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to... I mean, the economy in general, I think that's where we're trying to segue with this. But gas prices has always been one of those things where everybody notices when we're frivolously spending as a country. Gas is usually one of the first things to start going up.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people notice that the quickest, if not at the gas pump, but with the price of food.
You just notice that you don't have enough money for like extra things, and it's like, well, where'd that money go?
Yeah, that's where it starts, right?
You know, it's like, well, it's at the pump, and you get there and you realize like it doesn't go as far as it, you know.
Yep.
When these prices go up and you go there for the first time with an empty tank, you know, it's just like, oh my God.
Yep.
It's astronomical, like the price difference.
$20 used to get me a half a tank. Now it's not. It's barely getting me a quarter of a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I remember
$40 doesn't even get me about 3/4 of a tank.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, I've got a smaller car than you, but I mean, it's still crazy because we've been driving this car for quite a while now, several years, and just noticing the gas prices, how they've fluctuated in that car, you know, it's crazy to think that at one point I was able to fill my tank at $20, or actually less than I was able to back when 2019, I think.
Yeah.
2019 I was able to fill up the entire tank with $20. And
it got real cheap.
Yeah. Well,
And then it got really cheap during COVID, but that was obviously because of, you know, the supply chain issues.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't realistic. Everybody likes to post those numbers when it was like in the cents. It was below $1.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think that was meant to happen.
No, probably not.
I think it was, you know, but prices were absolutely affordable. It was so easy. Like gas prices coming down like that helped all America. Like, it helped everybody.
Oh, yeah.
You know, poor people, rich people. It helps everybody. And I really miss that. And realistically, like as soon as Biden took office, man, gas prices went exactly back to what they were under Obama. Like, did you notice that?
Yes.
Because I noticed that. Like, I drove a truck under, you know, that presidency, man. And, I mean, gas prices were getting, that's when they were getting unreal. I think the last time they hit about this high was then.
Yeah.
Back, I don't know, 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
They were really high,
Yep.
I want to say.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because when I graduated, it was actually shortly after I graduated, so it would have been right around that same time. But I had a car my grandmother had given me for free, and I had to put premium in it because it had a supercharger in it,
Sure.
And so I had to put premium gas in it. And I mean, I was paying. Well, that was another weird thing too that happened under Obama, was that, you know, it used to be, I don't know if you remember these days, but it used to be that you had your regular unleaded, your mid-grade, and then your premium.
Yeah.
And there was only 10 cents difference between the three.
Right. Yep.
Well, then it seemed like once I got that car and I started having to pay for gas, now there was like a 25-cent difference. You know? And yeah, that was crazy to me, but I know what you're talking about. Those prices did go up, and it was insane. I mean,
they never really came down from that time. They kind of got to a high point and stayed there until it became like the normal price for gas. And I know what you're talking about because my wife had an Audi, you know, so that takes premium.
Yep.
And it got to the point where it's like, oh, you're just gonna have to put some mid grade in there, man. Premium is insane right now, you know. But I know exactly what you're talking about. They were far apart, and I don't know. Is that just? Am I just thinking back to that because I'm a kid? But yeah, I do remember the signs being only like slight, like a couple cents
it was
difference. Like when I was even a kid looking at those and I remember those prices being way lower.
Oh yeah. Well, what was crazy is my parents took us to Hawaii back in 2004, 2005-ish. They took us to Hawaii, and I remember thinking $5 a gallon for gas. You know, we knew that it was going to be more expensive on the island, right?
Right.
But $5 for gas, that blew our minds just for regular gas. $5 a gallon. That blew our minds, and now we're almost there. We're almost there, right back up at it again.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
There was a bunch of pumps that had to, like out on the coast and stuff, that had to update their signs to include so they could put more digits up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Crazy. But yeah, I mean, and the gas prices don't just affect, you know, obviously, they don't just affect our immediate pocketbook to go into our cars, but it goes into the groceries. When we're buying groceries, I know we've actually talked about that in the past too, that the price of groceries now is just absolutely ridiculous. I just went and bought some fresh vegetables, some fresh fruit, some bread, butter, milk, just kind of the staples. It was $100. It's insane.
That's crazy, dude.
It's crazy. I got some grapes, I got some apples, some bananas, I got stuff for salads throughout the week. I got all kinds of stuff, but it wasn't $100 worth in my mind when I was picking this stuff up, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, you know, it's certain things, it's kind of weird, right? Cuz like all the prices have inflated, but seemingly like the organic stuff has stayed relatively stable and the same.
Yeah.
So what's funny, I feel like, is a lot of the stuff is up to that level.
Oh, yeah.
So I find myself now just buying the organic stuff that before I'd be like, oh, that's ridiculously overpriced.
Yep.
Now it's like, well, it's like 10 cents more or cheaper. The eggs, the brown eggs that you can get from the grocery store, which are so much better than the white ones.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I said it. But they're they're only like they're not that much. Realistically, like they're right around the same cost of eggs. With the cost of eggs at what they are, you might as well get these eggs which have better protein, you know, for you. Like they're better for you eggs. Like it's just, and they taste so much better.
Yeah.
You know, they actually fill me up. Like they're good eggs, man. Obviously if you get chickens or just, you know, find someone with chickens, I'm sure they have enough eggs that you can probably throw them a carton and they'll hook you up.
Oh yeah.
But if you can't, the grocery store, the brown eggs, man. Get the brown ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people around here, or I should say I know quite a few people around here in our area where they'll go outside of town and there'll be signs, you know, eggs, you know, this much, how much ever for
everywhere,
a dozen.
Man. That's why I love this area so much.
Oh yeah.
Because you would take it for granted if you went somewhere else. Like I went down to Tennessee for a training thing, and they don't grow stuff down there because you can't. It's all rock. It's like the soil doesn't you know, it's weeds, man. Like it's a cattle place. Like there's some parts of the state where you can, but like very few.
Well, especially by the mountains, yeah.
Yeah. Well, most of it is realistically.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, and And then like when my parents were in Florida, they're like, "Oh man, we loved it up there because of all the butcher shops, because like they have to special order all their meat now." But it's like you can go to any run of the mill butcher shop and get a good, you know, a good quality steak.
Yep.
You really don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to drive that far.
Well,
realistically,
one of the nice parts about having those butchers around too is that they'll give you like the bundle packs. You know, you can buy a bundle or something for a severely discounted price. Especially, it's going to be cheaper to go to the butcher than the grocery store. And if you are paying the same prices from the butcher as the grocery store, chances are it's garbage anyway. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna get
processed.
You're gonna pay a little bit more too at the butcher shops, but like they've come out and already said that like they clone meat for like like I don't know what those experiments look like. I don't want to have a clone cow meat, steak. And man, some grocery store meat's been okay. Like I'm not gonna harp on all of it, but I've like some of the worst stuff I've had has come from the grocery store meat section.
Yep.
And I'm just talking your Walmarts, your big box grocery stores. There's some chains that actually do work with like I know there's a Woodman's. Every Woodman's will kind of work with like a local kind of stuff around it and kind of bring their products in. There's certain stores that do cool stuff like that. So I'm not harping on all of them, but it's just, man, like, yeah, you take that for granted. I think like the heartland here, like our dairy prices are always going to be reasonable.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. What a gallon of milk is worth, like in New York. I wonder what the price difference is.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy.
But I was gonna say, besides the organic stuff too, the like the sugary, like the crap, like the crap, yeah, like your pre-made stuff, like the quick and easy, like throw in the oven stuff has skyrocketed astronomically. I've noticed we never really buy that stuff, but like I've noticed, like it's insane how much that stuff's gone up.
Well, I was so like I said, I was just at the grocery store and we went through the freezer section to grab a couple frozen pizzas for one of the nights this week that we were going to be busy.
Yeah.
And but I walked past the frozen food section, where they have the family size lasagnas and stuff like that. And what used to be like $12, $12 to $15 for one of those family size like Stouffer's lasagnas, it's like $22 now.
That's crazy.
It is.
I would never pay that, man.
No.
And that's what I'm telling you. You can go, so you can take that $22 into one of those butcher shops is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they'll have pre-made stuff similar to that.
Yep.
And it's probably not even that much.
Yep.
I don't know. He's trying to throw something. I don't feel responsible enough to catch it. I don't have my glasses. Silent partner.
Let's see what we got here. Okay.
Are we all going to die?
No, he's... Okay, let's see. I'll just start reading it.
Yeah.
Summary of cost of living in New York in the United States. A family of 4 estimated monthly costs are $6,100. That's without rent.
Is that just food?
Well, I would imagine like food, gas, transportation.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
A single person estimated monthly cost is $1,648 without rent. New York is 19.6% more expensive than Los Angeles without rent. And then rent is in New York is on average 51.2% higher than in Los Angeles. And then
I would never live there in any of those places.
Milk is
prices, that's
$5.91 a gallon.
Oh man,
that's crazy. Eggs, oh my God, $5.46.
What
for a carton of eggs?
You got bread in there too.
Yeah, loaf of fresh white bread is $4.30.
Oh man, and that's like the crap bread too, like with the yoga mats and stuff.
A pound of
plastics and crap.
1 pound of white rice is $3.25. Rice.
Oh man, dude, I see. Like it's crazy.
Chicken fillets are $7.18 a pound.
How do people live there?
Beef, ground beef per pound is $9.04. Wow.
Yeah, that's horrible. Yeah, I get ground beef at the butcher shops, $4.99 per pound.
Let's see.
It's delicious. It's good ground beef.
Imported, well, let's see. Domestic beer for one bottle is about $2.53 a bottle. Imported beer is $3.83 a bottle. Oh, cigarettes.
Yeah,
One pack of cigarettes. Do you want to take a guess?
a pack in New York.
Yeah, so a pack right now, depending on what brand you get, you're looking at anywhere from like $7 to $10, depending on what brand you get.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well then I'm gonna say $15-$20.
$17.
Yep.
That's insane.
So I was gonna say they were $10 in O'Hare, like the Chicago.
Oh yeah, Chicago was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I chose not to buy them. I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
I'll just wait.
at that point, yeah, if they're going to be selling them at the airport, they know you're desperate. So,
But speaking of that too, like beer, we did Applebee's to go.
Yeah.
Like it's like Applebee's to go or what it's like, something like that at the airport. Man. We got the Presidente margaritas, you know.
Okay.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it was not worth it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was like a $30 thing.
Oh my gosh.
And the food was like $30, you know, for like the basic appetizer type stuff. It was wild. It was like a bare bones version of their menu, and everything was way expensive.
Yeah.
It's just the airports are nuts. You want to talk about the economy, man. We were like, I had this whole plan because I'm doing these trainings and stuff. I'm like, well, at least cool. I'll have a chance to get drunk on the airplane. It's like, no, you have to be a millionaire to get drunk on the airport, man. You know how much a beer is in the terminals?
Oh, it's probably $7-8.
No. More?
No, more?
Yes.
Wow.
You couldn't, like, the cheapest one you could get would be about $12.
Good Lord.
And that'd be like for your basic run-of-the-mill beers.
Yeah, like Miller, Bud.
And if you wanted to drink something, like, because you're spending so much on the beer, so obviously you're like, well, I'm going to want to enjoy this.
Yeah.
A little bit more. Well, now you're spending $15, you know. Oh, man, it's unreal.
That's crazy.
They're just crazy, man.
Well, I'll tell you, it's stuff like this that when we hear, it's stuff like this that comes to mind when we hear the president of these 50 states go up on his pedestal during his basically campaign speech that he called the State of the Union.
Yeah.
And says that inflation has never been lower.
Yeah.
It's like, what world are you living in?
And the funny part is they're going to be like, well, in the context of which he's speaking, he's technically correct.
Yeah.
You know? Because they'll
Give me
say,
a
like, in
break.
how far it's down by the month. But, you know, they're playing that whole game of, like, well, this month, you know, it's down 0.5%. But last month it was down 2%. The other month before that, it was down 1.5%. The other month before that, it was down another 2%. And it's down every single month before that in this trend. And it's like, well, yeah, it's not so bad that it went down another 0.5%, but that 0.5% just put it up to, you know, 30.75%.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, what I get frustrated, I don't even care about the monthly. Like, okay, you know, monthly, sure, you know, it still affects you. But I want to, you know, I actually looked up yearly inflation rates since 2014. And, well, so 2014 inflation was up 0.8%. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it went down to 2015. In 2015, at 0.7%. So 2019, here's where we'll do this. So 2019, it was at 2.3.
Okay.
Okay. Then 2020, it was at a 1.4% rate. 2021, huge spike, 7%.
Sure.
7. I mean, here's the bar graph.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty noticeable.
And then 2022 is 6.5, 3.4 in 2023, and 3.5 so far in 2024.
Yeah. But, you know, and then we'll go from the pre-made meals in the grocery store to your sugary beverages, man. Your juices went up. You know, anything juice went up. Milk, you know, obviously eggs, bacon.
Bacon went up
Bacon went way up.
bad. Yeah.
Way up. Way up.
Well, I know during COVID it started going up. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Bacon, it went up to like, for like your Oscar Mayer type brands, those were like $12 a pound.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they still
Man, there
haven't
was
come
weird
down
instances
fully.
during COVID, though. Like, it's kind of weird to go to those times because, like, we had outages of goofy things. Like, you go to the grocery store and it's like, oh, there's none of this, but plenty of this thing that I actually like, So it's like, well, it's not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
But it was weird. There was like definitely things that just went missing.
Oh yeah.
And when they did come in, yeah, they were super expensive.
Well, they were limiting things too. They were limiting
Yeah.
the amount of cases of water you could have, the toilet paper crisis. But yeah, there's toilet paper, hand sanitizer.
Disease.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah. Well,
Everybody
and
was just like instantly, their go-to was, I need toilet paper.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was one of those things where that's just one of the things that people want to stock up on if they're going to be in their house for a long time. But
I guess, man.
but
But if you're
man,
thinking
if
about it
that's
that
going-
much, just get a bidet.
Well, not only that, but if it's that big of a problem with you, why are you so worried about toilet paper over like water and
Yeah.
your
Food or
essentials
ammunition
like
or anything else
Yeah,
is
well, ammunition went up crazy
insanely
too.
more important. You
Yeah.
could buy a bag of rags and just keep washing
Yeah,
it
yeah,
for all that matters. Like toilet paper's completely disposable.
yeah,
What you buy, you will not have later.
yeah, yeah.
It will be gone.
Well, not only that, but then the toilet paper too. A lot of these are getting stuck in the septic systems and stuff like that. A lot of it gets built up, and that wreaks
Sure.
happec on the septic systems and stuff too. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Are you saying
have you
they're
just
just panic shitting now? They're just
no?
like,
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna need
think-
more TP now.
Yeah, I don't know,
either,
man.
man.
I just
People
I
are
think,
nuts.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. It's human behavior.
it's weird.
COVID really made me lose faith in human behavior, man.
Well, I
Like,
think-
it's just everyone was like so willing to
yeah,
tell me what to do, and like I will do it. Point me in the direction of where
Yeah.
to go. Put the arrows on the floor. Tell me how to look in here.
that's exactly because in the toilet paper example is actually a really good example of that. Is people weren't buying it out of necessity because they need it at home anymore.
No.
It's because everybody else is
Everybody
buying
else
it
is
up.
getting it,
I
then-
better get some while I can.
Yep.
You know,
I'm not going to be the sucker with no toilet paper.
yeah, exactly. And so that was the mindset that was kind of created with the toilet paper, and then they started limiting, how many cases of water you could buy, bottled water you could buy. All of that stuff. It leads to a crowd mentality. Everyone's just doing what everyone else is because
Yeah.
they have to.
I can't believe that happened here.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. I didn't ever figure, you'd think, okay, well, if it's a stomach flu bug that's going around, you'd think, okay, well, yeah, toilet paper, yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that at all.
No.
And then Kleenex started going after the toilet paper. It's like they're complaining about how this is going to be like a very severe cold, and
What about
the tissues go after
all the masks and gloves that are like you find in the
Oh, I
thrift
know,
stores
yeah.
and the auction stores and like the treasure bin stores.
Yep.
All this old COVID paraphernalia, I like to call it.
Yeah.
All the stuff that was bought up with the COVID funds.
Yep.
All this money that was just thrown at this. It's just nitrile gloves and
Yep.
just stupid masks, like weird variations, just different ones.
Yep.
But that's all it is, man. There's
Oh,
so
well,
much. We had so many of these masks that do not stop you from getting sick from a virus.
Yep.
These are masks that stop certain dust particles from getting in your face.
Right.
That's what they were giving everybody.
Yep.
And a lot of them had those chemicals on them, and they were soaked in stuff. And with your sweat and whatnot, they were actually more dangerous. Not to mention, you're just breathing in your own filth over and over
Yes.
all day long.
Yeah.
And you're making more people sick. There was zero common sense in logic. You want to talk about common sense, man? Zero during all of this, because I was just watching people follow along. Like, what is going on, man.
Yeah.
And you know that because this is when I basically snapped while we were at our previous employer.
Oh, yeah.
Or that's when I finally just couldn't have it anymore, because it's like, how are all these other people that I work with, these smart engineering type minded individuals, not seeing through this crap and playing along with it? It like all of them ended up getting vaccinated. All of them ended up just like, we'll just do what's they're telling us to do. And it's like,
Yeah.
how can you people be like that? Like, I don't
Well, it's not
understand.
like-
Like, are you American, or are you like, what is
Yeah.
this, man?
Well, and here's the thing too. Like first of all, we're talking about vaccines, so we should preface it saying that we're not doctors, even though
And Bill Gates has got
But one of the weird things about that too is I never really got a good reason. Like, you'd talk to people about getting vaccinated or why they're wearing masks all the time or why they're doing this or that. And there really wasn't ever a good reason. You'd have some people that would say, oh, well, I don't want to get my family sick because I have someone that is really susceptible to getting sick. Maybe it's an older like grandparent or something. But most of these people were just saying, oh, we should be wearing masks because that's what they're saying is the best thing to do right now. Or we should get vaccinated because that's the best thing that they say is, it's the right thing to do right now.
Yeah, save Nana, dude.
Yeah. And
Well, yeah, it turned into, you got to do what's best for you, and then it turned in, well, you got to do what's best for the rest of society.
everybody else, right?
I don't feel safe unless you're vaccinated, and I don't feel safe unless you have a mask on, and I don't
Yep.
feel safe unless you're 6 feet away from me.
Yep.
Yada yada. It's just a bunch of weird, crazy people were running the show, man. A bunch
Yes,
of crazy
sir.
people that are just afraid of everything.
And how do you? I mean, so this actually says that in 2020 our inflation was down a little bit from the previous year. How do you think COVID added to that?
Added to the inflation?
Or I should say, how do you think COVID interacted with that inflation to where it actually came down almost a full percentage from 2019? Because 2020 was the first year where it was like all
Well,
year, right?
I think 2020 wasn't that like the first actual economic like show of what Trump's economy was like going to do, like after all his policies were being enacted and stuff.
Yeah, I think
Didn't the COVID, like, when did the shutdowns happen? They're pretty
it was
early.
2020 in March, I
March?
believe. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. When do those numbers come out? Like, because is it like the fiscal year thing? Because fiscal years are different than like.
it doesn't say. It says here. You can look at it. I got to run to the bathroom quick.
Interesting take. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll look at this and read it out loud while I'm looking at this. Okay. So,
30 minutes in.
inflation, forget. Right. Man, I really wish Joe mic'd up now. Yeah, I don't know, man. What kind of crap is he pulling up? Yeah, usinflationcalculator.com. Anyways, I heard that Trump spent a ton of money. But I feel like with what the Biden administration ended up doing was rescinding all of the Trump things. So like all that money that was spent was then spent to undo. And I feel like it's all just, not only that, they sent everybody checks and then sent they're sending tons of money to Ukraine and Israel. And, we're funding all sides of every conflict going on currently right now.
And funding that bridge.
The bridge. The Infrastructure Act, though, good thing he passed that, because otherwise how would we have the money for the said bridge? Yeah, I don't know, man. It comes down to like we have all these weird things that they pass, and like they're doing weird things with it. Like all the infrastructure bill stuff, like any project that has any sort of funding from that has to, per the federal government, post signage, basically campaigning for Biden, saying that, this project and all the jobs that are here because of this, are due to Joe Biden's Build Back Better, whatever, in Infrastructure Act, whatever. And they have to have signage on site. And then they're like, here are some suggestions, and they send this thing along to these people. And it's like, man, if that was ever at a job site that I was at, I would totally just destroy it, dude. Right? Like, I would absolutely vandalize the crap out of that and feel no remorse in doing so, because it's like, that is so unconstitutional and so wrong. I don't know. I mean, a lot of what I do now, I owe to the whole reason that, you know, you need to maintain being bipartisan for the infrastructure of this country and the rural internet. But it's like, no one's going to say that they don't want to do that. But I almost feel like, because both sides support that, is there some sort of nefarious goal to getting everybody connected to a high upload speed fiber connection internet?
I've always kind of thought that is what is the intention behind this quick rush to all of the fiber and all of that, because
It's
they
being
use
thrown up everywhere.
Oh yeah. Well, they used it as, oh, we want to make sure people are connected while during COVID, but it happened. It's still happening. That's the thing. Like, and I mean, you could say, oh, we want to make sure our infrastructure is.
Was that the reason? I'm pretty sure Obama even campaigned on it, and it was set forth there in him, and Trump did it. Actually got it into the motions because it became into play during Trump, and Trump put the component on it of the Made America clause of like all the suppliers, all the supplies, everything you're using. If it's made in America, you basically get like a rebate from the government,
yeah,
like,
okay.
type thing.
Okay.
So that was the encouragement. Now all these manufacturers are like, oh, so a bunch of them started manufacturing stuff here.
Yeah.
You know, there's like almost one manufacturer of fiber optic cable, but now there's like a ton. There's Sterilite makes fiber optic cable.
Really?
American, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The whole rush to make sure that everyone's connected to the internet and all that, like, on one part of me says, well, that's just the way society is going right now, that everything's going to be, connected to the internet.
Right.
And, we want to make sure that everyone has access to it and not get left behind, have the same opportunities as other people. But then on the other hand, man, I can't, like you said, is there something more nefarious behind it? It makes you wonder, because, I mean, at that point, they're able to, not to say that they couldn't with your cell phones before, but, now they can pinpoint, people's conversations, what they're doing, where they're at. We've talked about on here before that they're able to use routers as kind of like little sonar things to see where you are at in your house and what you're doing.
And the basic connections that a lot of people out in the rural communities has zero upload speed. I mean, basically zero, right? To the point where you're not getting any sort of data from this person.
Right.
Anything substantial. Fiber optics has just astronomical upload speed capabilities.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you want. It's, symmetrical. Even modern cable connections, you're not getting a high upload speed. They're working on it.
Yeah, they're working on it, but
but I feel like upload speed is where the collection of all this stuff.
100%.
And that's what they need. But I also, with the rural development, getting all these say farms fiber ready.
Yeah.
Bill Gates, God bless him, did great things out in India with these farmers, with getting, basically buying them out and, developing them and, however, investing in them to do these smart farm things.
Yeah.
And so everything's monitored through basically the Internet of Things type technology, where it's just basically sensors everywhere and you got different things that work off of other things.
Sure.
These things probably work very well until the first storm hits, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Generally, this is how I feel. Yes, technology can be a great thing, but when you use it and depend on in substances where it's life depends on this to work 100% correctly, it's a horrible idea. Always a horrible idea to replace the human mind with AI or technology.
Yeah. Well, people, and then at that point, people rely on it to get through their day. I think that's what you're kind of getting at, is that
Yeah.
people
Well-
rely, they lose they lose the instinct on how to, say, build a fire, or
Eventually
all
over
these
time,
things to
yes.
survive. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
we're
we
already
definitely
seeing
have.
it.
Yeah, right. Oh no, yeah, 100% in us, even in me and you.
Oh yeah. 100%. Well, I mean, I think about some of this stuff. People that are just like my parents' age. I've got a few guys that I know here and there that are able to completely retile a bathroom and basically put up, deconstruct, pull down, and put up new walls in a basement. Basically, redo an entire basement, and they know all of these skills. And I'm like, I know how to set up your computer for you. It's
I
like,
can put an end on that cable.
I mean, and one thing, well, and you've touched on this though too, is that one good thing about technology though too is that I can go on YouTube, learn
Yeah.
some of these skills, but at the
It's
same
made
time,
college and technical schools almost obsolete with
Yeah.
the how-to
Well,
and
look at-
the access to knowledge we can now grab from our phones.
well,
our
and look
pockets,
at and look at the online schooling now. It's so much more popular. Whereas, do you remember when they first started coming out with these online colleges, and everyone was just kind of like,
Scam.
oh
It's a
yeah,
scam.
yeah, you're gonna get your degree on the internet, just like you can get ordained on the internet, right? Yeah, okay. And now it's a legitimate thing, and I
All the
mean,
major ones do it.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
cracks me up because it's like they still charge what they charge
yeah.
to do
Yeah,
the it's like,
exactly.
what are you charging for?
Yep. Well, it's not like I'm assuming that they have professors get together for some of these classes, but it's probably not usually one professor that's just coming up with the curriculum to put online. It's going to be a culmination of people getting together and putting this stuff online. So it's not like you have one professor overseeing the entire course all the time. A lot of it is, okay, read this. There will be a lecture for an hour and a half to 2 hours on Thursday. And then you have a test on Tuesday of next week, and then get ready for another lecture on Thursday, So it's like, and obviously all classes aren't like this, but the few that I've seen people take around here with like UW or even other schooling, it's they have like a lecture a week with the professor. Outside of that, the professor's just there to answer any questions for people, and it's just a when you go onto a website, it has the little chat with us bar. That's
Yeah.
basically what this is.
Oh,
Is send a
man.
message to your professor. It's like,
Just
what are we doing
sucking
here?
that money away. Just
And it's like, and I'm not gonna
Type to us.
say, yeah, right. And I'm not gonna
sorry.
say,
I do not recognize that command.
yeah, right. I'm not gonna say that people can't benefit from it, because I think in general, if you're learning something, you're all overall in a better spot. But when you're having to pay as much as you do for it,
Yeah.
that's what's crazy to me.
Yeah, I think there's a place for it, man. I think we're at any more, because they've only increased how many programs and colleges there are, right? There's so
Yeah.
many worthless. I mean,
Yeah.
they're probably, truth be told, there's probably a bunch of worthless ones before,
Right.
even when we were looking, before
Even
all
the-
these crazy gender studies and all these goofy
Yeah.
ones that they've just made up.
Yep.
But there's a ton before that. It's like, because I used to, I grew up in that whole thing. It's like, well, you got to go to college after you're done with high school. That's just the path. That's what you do. And it's
Yep.
like, all right, well, that's what I got to do. So you look into it and you're, all right, well, this thing sounds interesting. And then you like get more involved. It's like, oh yeah, you get to do this, this, and that. It's like, I don't want to do any of those things. Then you look into something different and you keep, for me, I kind of kept changing, like, oh, criminal justice. Oh, maybe paralegal type stuff. I don't know,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, what do I want to do? There was never a career path for what I'm doing now, and I actually absolutely love my
Yeah.
job. You
Well,
just had to
that's-
kind of
yeah.
know people and then like get you into certain things.
That's-
like realistically, there's no college path for what I'm doing.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and even back then, it probably would have been lumped into something like IT or something.
Yeah,
And,
probably
And
maybe construction.
yeah, maybe.
some-
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that it is weird actually, because I remember when I applied at our previous employer to do cable, when I applied there, I didn't really think that I was going to be actually considered. They said, oh, you don't have to have any experience, but I thought, I thought, well, okay, I'll try this anyway. And then I got into the job and I'm like, why aren't more kids encouraged to do this like right out of high school? Well, turns out there were some that were encouraged to do this kind of work. I always thought this was something that required, a lot of expertise. You had to know a lot. You had to go into it with knowledge on this. No, we got 18, 19-year-olds that didn't know their head from their rear end, and they still did cable poorly. but I think that was
take much, man.
No.
I mean, they make it sound so much more complicated, I think is what it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of the 18, 19-year-olds that actually came in was just poor work ethic that we saw anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't
with
really
the younger generations for sure.
But
There's a few people that like come out, and that's probably true with all generations, to be honest, because you always see movies, even like the older movies, there's always like the town drunk, and you know he works for the guy, and the guy's always just so disappointed in dude's just drunk over there.
Yeah.
Big disappointment guy.
Yep.
But yeah, like I feel like that's always kind of been a thing, but maybe more so now. But this is a weird thing with that silent quitting. I feel like a lot of the younger people are doing that whole thing is just like, well, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. And it's like, I honestly actually 100% support that.
Yeah.
Because I think corporations and whatnot, like I said, my worldview, my personal beliefs, just the research I've done, I believe we're in a fascist system. So I believe that the rebellion needs to take place at these corporations, because the companies are who push the vaccine mandates and who push the unconstitutional. There is no free speech at any company you work at.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like any company developing like on these soils needs to follow the Constitution.
Well, what do you mean by free speech, I guess? I mean, if you're going to, are you talking about like pay? You can't discuss pay? Or?
Well, there's certain things. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
I'm saying an employer can choose to fire you for whatever reason, right?
So
depending on the state, but also
you can get sued. The company can be sued for you talking about your salary
Oh,
or firing you.
well, or maybe certain local jurisdictions, sure.
Wisconsin is an at-will state, so
Yeah. Well, whatever. I'm not saying anything specific because, yeah, you're right. And it might be something as stupid as that, and they can choose to or not choose to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but they choose to.
Yeah. Well, I think going back to what you said originally, which is, these a lot of people nowadays doing the bare minimum to get their paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think these corporations, these companies, if they want higher work ethic out of their workers, then they need to pay them better and let them know, set the bar higher to begin with. Because when you as a company just tell your guys, all we're asking for you is to show up and do X, Y, Z. That's it.
Yeah.
When that's your only expectation, you can't get upset with them for living up to that expectation. And then, but what I think what you're getting at and what I disagree with is, you're not getting a raise this year because you've just done the bare minimum. It's like, okay, not even like a cost of living raise, nothing, and it's like let the people who are actively trying to maybe work their way up in the company, let them be the ones that get the raises. Let the ones that are actually showing,
Yeah, I believe in that. 100%.
Yeah. And one of the biggest problems too is that a lot of these companies are just leaving the bar so low that anyone can reach it. And so that's why you do get some of these guys that come in, gals that come in and, 18, 19 years old, and they're not worth their weight. But yet the company, maybe the company expects the bar so high for so little pay,
Certain jobs, possibly. Are you in one of those?
No,
I know what you're talking about. There's certain jobs like that for sure.
Yeah.
Where you hear about them, where it's like, man, I need to do this, and that, and you're like in a job that's like similar field or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, we didn't have to do any of those things,
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
it was just expected of you. It's like, that's kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I kind of get what you're saying there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. It's just it's crazy. I think if companies want better work out of their employees, one, obviously they have to pay them, be willing to pay them for those good things. I think about competition, right? So like silly, for instance, Taco Bell versus Taco John's, right? This is a silly example, but Taco Bell versus Taco John's. While there may be some differences in how they build their tacos, at the end of the day, they're making a taco, right? And I think that
Debatable.
yeah, yeah. But I think if you're going to set, when I started at Taco Bell right out of high school, the expectation was only, come in for work. If you weren't going to be in for work, you had to find someone to replace your shift. Outside of that, just do the dishes when you can and make tacos. And I would get paid, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the only part about that, where was I going with this? If I could go to Taco John's, and if I saw at Taco John's they were making tacos, not having to worry about dishes, and paying me the same, well, where am I going? I'm going to go to Taco John's. I think mm-hmm. what both of the companies need to do is they need to understand, okay, who is my targeted demographic to hire, and what if my demographic is, okay, I want older folks, I want someone in their 20s to 30s. They have to match the responsibilities. They have to match with the responsibilities with who they're hiring. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm.
No, man. I think you would go well with like Germany. In Germany, you go to school for and they.
Which era?
Now. And
Germany nowadays.
And you go to school, and it's like if you're intellectual or whatever, you can maintain that in schooling, the university route. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's the factory work for you. So at a certain point, you get taken out of school, and maybe you get a trade school type learning. Maybe you're gonna you're gonna work on the machines or whatever. So you got to learn that. But you learn that, and then you're picked, and like you don't get freedom of choice. It's all chosen for you. You don't get to go job hunting. You're not intellectual enough. You're going to go into the factories, basically.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
And like what I'm saying is like what you you kind of said that in a sense, like
Well, I think Well, actually, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Because I think so. I think that while that system could work for a lot of people, I think the problem with that though too is that you're kind of pigeonholing people into a certain job career, of some sort. Yeah. And you're not maybe that system would work if at some point you wanted to start going to the whole college route, making something. Let's say you were told you had to go to the factory, but, if you wanted to work on, a more white collar job, like, maybe a networking tech or maybe, well, that wouldn't be white collar, but like finance. If you wanted to get into finance, do you know if there's like a placement test or something in Germany that they have to take before they're pushed off either way?
Probably be the intellectual route, I would assume.
Okay. Yeah, at any point you should be able to, maybe they are, but at some point you should be able to switch if you've proven that you are good enough at it,
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just think, I think that there's a lot of companies out there that expect a ton and aren't willing to pay for it. And I think there's a lot on the other side too, where just because somebody has the ability to do something that realistically everybody can do, mm-hmm. but they're overpaying them for it because, they were the first ones to do it in this company. It's like, well, okay, yeah, but we could have 5 other guys do the same exact thing, Yeah. I just think the whole pay thing, and maybe you're exactly right. Maybe there is such a wage difference in a lot of these examples we're talking about because people aren't allowed to talk about it, because they frown upon people talking about their wages. What's that?
What do you mean not allowed?
Not allowed.
He was saying earlier, certain states don't allow you to talk about it, and they can actually like fire you for.
Oh
for
yeah.
mentioning it.
Well, yeah.
That's true in any state.
No. What I was saying. What I
Is
was
it?
saying is that you can be sued for being fired
Over,
over talking about
Oh.
your pay.
it is not illegal to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It's frowned upon.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as you talking about your pay. Say, Kyle, you and me are in the same position, and let's say I make $7 more an hour than you do, and we're doing the same job.
Mm-hmm.
If someone if our employer fired me because I told you that, then that would be grounds for an employment.
Oh, right.
You know.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should absolutely be able to sue the shit out of them for firing you for something like that.
Yeah.
That's dumb. But yeah, I think because and some of these companies do it, I feel like better. It's like, all right, if you have prior experience, we'll start you out higher, right? But like beyond that, realistically, there needs to be a better meritocratic system to get these people paid. The people that really strive, you either increase their pay at what they're doing now, or you get them like higher up within the company so that they're not just someone in the field anymore. They're someone who's like making decisions.
Yeah.
You get these hard workers and you get them and you need to mold to them, right? Because like the mentality for if you have a bad employee, think about it. If you have someone who just shits the bed every day, man, he just comes in, if he comes in at all,
Right.
and he just makes your life hell because he's making mistakes left and right. People have to go back and fix it. Everyone else is complaining, and you're hearing everything, right? Like you're the one that has to deal with it because you're this guy's direct,
Superior
superior,
or
right? Some
yeah.
supervisor or whatever. And man, it's just like dealing with that person.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, there needs to be something. I don't know. I think. See, I don't. I kind of go back and forth on this too because it's like, okay, well, we could offer incentives. You can offer incentives for people to do this or that, but realistically, offering an incentive like a pizza party at the end of, at the end of the quarter, bonuses. I suppose you could make
Pay
an argument
incentives.
for. Pay incentives, bonuses, things like that. But I mean, realistically, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, honestly. I mean, talking about like today's generation not wanting to work and things like that. There's got to be a point where you just have to say, look, if you're not going to even try, I don't want you here.
yeah.
And
that's the weird thing, man, because they find themselves
but
in
you need
these
to
places.
be well, yeah. But you need to. But here's
People
the
that
other
don't
thing.
want to try. I mean,
Employers need to be very clear, though, when they hire somebody,
Oh, yeah.
what the expectation is.
let me share this with you. I went to Home Depot the other day,
Okay.
and there was a cash register, and I didn't even notice this until like I already walk up to it, and I'm about to start getting ringed up. This cashier's training a younger girl, and there's a sign, and the cashier's masked, mind you.
Okay.
And there's a sign that says, like something about being allergic to plants. And all I can think of, it's like, what are you doing working as a cashier
At
at
Home
Home Depot with like any of these hardware mass stores have garden centers?
Yeah.
Like, what is like the purpose of your sign? So I'm like, well, whatever. We don't have plants.
Yeah.
We actually did. We had that some oat grass for the cat.
Oh.
But because it was for the cat, I didn't even like think
Sure.
of it as being a plant,
Yeah,
like I didn't
yeah.
even think about it. I was just like, oh, it's this cat thing. I was like, oh, she's like, oh, they got something. It's like I couldn't like, and older lady,
Really?
gray hair, older lady, grandma style lady, and it's just
Interesting.
unreal to me, man. It's like, what is these people that are out in society, and it's like we have to cater to them, but they
Yeah.
force their way into our society.
Well, here's another thing too that employers get. I guess this is something that I haven't thought about really, but I guess employers do have to worry about the whole equal opportunity thing, because
You got to watch who you hire, man.
Well, yeah, because she was
if they
older.
didn't hire her, this
Right.
would have been a non-issue.
That's
for
what I
them.
mean.
But now
When-
it's an issue.
When logically, I would think in my mind, I think, okay, well, if she's not able to fulfill the duties that we require in this position,
Yeah.
then she's not a candidate for hire. But
Dude,
see, then if she's older, if she's above a certain age,
but man, think
Oh,
about
how dare
that.
you.
Think about that for a second. Like, who's in charge of hiring all these people? Because like we talk about some certain things, the Department of Education. People are hiring these teachers that are like teaching your kids gay stuff. Like, people are straight up like, who's hiring?
well, I think it's more than the teachers.
the
Education.
90-year-old lady, sorry,
Yeah,
that has the severe plant allergy
yeah.
to be a cashier at your Home Depot. Who is that person making that decision?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Good
Dude,
question.
I honestly, like, it is an honest question because people have to be hiring these individuals, man. The infiltrators have infiltrated.
yeah. It is. It is. It is
Dude,
wild. It is
it's
wild
crazy.
because, yeah, for me, that was actually one thing that I always wanted to do when I was at Taco Bell because I became a manager within like a year of working there. And I always wanted to do the hiring process because I always thought I'd be good at it. I've always thought I am somewhat good at reading people, you
Sure.
know?
It's a
And-
fun game to play.
Well, yeah. I
Find
mean,
out when you're wrong real fast. Oh,
Yeah,
no, that
yeah,
guy
right.
sucks. We got to get rid of him.
yeah. But I think.
Weekend shifts only for.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was always something that interested me. And I can't imagine. Well, put it this way I've talked to people that hire people now, and they're pretty much willing to hire almost about anybody. You
Yeah.
know,
So it seems like.
well, just because, for one, there aren't many people getting jobs anymore because they're incentivized to stay home.
I heard we're in a golden market for jobs. And I
We're in
don't
a-
think that's true.
Golden market.
I don't really know what that means. I feel like it means there's a lot of jobs available. But I'm pretty sure statistically, currently, there's actually fewer jobs, newer jobs going to Americans. The majority of newer jobs are going to foreign-born workers.
I don't know, man. I think.
Like Tyson just laid off all those people. Like
Yeah, I heard
they
about
didn't
that.
shut down the plant. They just fired all the legal workers to hire illegal workers.
Yeah,
I think they're going to drop their wages probably.
probably.
Probably the goal.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, well, not so funny because it is very sad, but like, is the legal people they fired were at one point like the illegal people. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Mm-mm.
It's a lot of people who probably were working there while getting their citizenship
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what you're coming
And
to,
they're-
what you're getting to is
They're
that
firing a bunch of legal
Yeah.
immigrants
yeah,
to then hire illegal immigrants.
yeah, just to
Yes.
save the money.
Just to save
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. I think I don't know. The way I would have hired people back when I was at Taco Bell and actually had would have possibly had an opportunity to would have been so strict. I never would hire anybody today. You know?
Yeah, it'd be hard.
It'd be
But who are you gonna-
incredibly difficult.
Man, like, who's applying to those jobs though? That's going to be a serious worker, man.
Exactly.
No one's
Exactly.
Look, I worked fast food for a day. I got a job at a McDonald's, the breakfast shift there one day. I was like, no, man, I ain't doing this. This job sucks.
Yeah.
And
Well-
I had, I've learned since, obviously, but like that was not me. Like, and it's not for everybody.
Right. Right.
It's a fast pace and you get treated like crap.
Oh yeah.
And there's zero appreciation, not even in the paycheck when you're done.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
zero appreciation.
Yeah.
It's almost like getting spit on after you've been spit on.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah, I
You
did fast food I worked at Taco Bell for I think just over 2 years. And
it
know-
was like high school time.
yeah.
Just after
well,
high school.
it was just after high
Yeah.
school. But I think one of the things too is I always wanted to make a good impression of myself. I always wanted to kind of bring my best self forward for an interview, for
Okay.
and
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, I didn't know where that was going,
No.
but sure. The interview, yeah.
and
yeah.
so at Taco Bell, first of all, I had applied several different places before Taco Bell, several, and I just kept getting,
Denied.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we're going with
Sucks.
someone else, and so I thought, okay, well, I'm a teenager, I get it, not
Our
everyone
job market
wants
was
to-
still tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was still tough then.
And,
2008 is when it got real bad, and it didn't get better.
Well, then I started showing up to just get the applications. I started showing up. One, I always asked for the manager.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just ask for an application by whoever was working the cash register. I asked for a manager, and then I talked to the manager, but I would always show up in a shirt and tie. Because, one of the things is first impression means everything,
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to get a job, especially back in those days because it was so difficult.
Yep.
And so I had to set myself
Dressed
apart
to
from
impress
everybody.
the McDonald's supervisor,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Walgreens manager.
Well, at that point, it didn't matter because I knew I wanted a job,
Right.
So I'm like, whatever. Whatever will impress them, whatever will put me aside from everybody else so they remember me.
Sure.
And I remember the general manager was working that day, so he came out, gave me my application, and he says, "Here, why don't you you can take this home, and then you can come back a couple days from now, and I'll be able to sit down with you." And I said, "Oh, I've got a pen right now. I just planned on filling it out right here." And he says, "Oh, well, here's a cup for some soda while you're filling it out, and I'll be right out there in about 10 minutes."
Oh, there you go.
I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
And
this
so
is working out great.
Yeah. And so he interviewed
That's not
me.
normal.
Yeah. So he interviewed me, and I was that was like the fall of that was in the fall that I applied, and he said, "Well, your birthday's coming up in a few months. We'll wait until you're 18. That way I can have you work a few more shifts that 17-year-old can't, a minor can't."
Sure.
And I was perfectly fine with that. But the one thing I appreciated about him was that he told me exactly what he expected of me. He expected me to be there on time. He expected me to be clean shaven, which became an issue. but
That's kind of a weird one that kind of fell by the wayside. That's not really a thing anymore.
No,
Beards are back.
Well, with food though, depending on where you go, like Taco Bell, you have to wear a beard net if you're going to have it.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
You had to wear a beard net in any sort of food processing place, or and a hair net.
But what's weird too is McDonald's. While I was working at Taco Bell, I'd go to McDonald's and notice that no one was wearing a hair net. No one was wearing a beard net. I'm like, what? How do they get away with it?
Just that McDonald's.
No. It was multiple.
Oh.
It was multiple, and even to this day, they're never wearing hair nets. Just next time you run through a
Probably
McDonald's,
because the food's not real, so it doesn't classify.
well, that's that's
you
a
have to
thought
be
too.
food safe for.
Yeah, but I think I guess where I was getting with that was that one, I marketed myself so that way the employer would want to hire me. I showed my best qualities. People nowadays aren't doing that.
No,
They're just like, "Oh, I'm here for a job, bro."
a lot of them are just doing it because they're told that they got to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the ones that even do it because of that, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly what you're saying. They're just, I'm just here for it. But
I need money, bro.
Let's be real. A lot of them are doing it to keep the unemployment going too. There's a lot of people that just fake apply to jobs.
Yep, 100%.
And they'll make sure that you're not going to call them for the interview. They'll write stupid stuff on their application on purpose.
Many of the jobs that I worked when I was younger, there were people that were there for 3-4 weeks just to claim unemployment at the end of it when they got fired.
Dude, I knew a dude. He was older. Man, had to have been in his 50s. And when we're in high school or just after high school.
Yeah.
And he kept going for this manager spot for Burger King, and like all he had to really do was pass the drug test. And he just couldn't get it together, man. He just could not pass that drug test, man. It was like the night before he was clean, and then he just felt, it's like, what are you doing? Why, dude? Like tomorrow, you can in like less than 24 hours. Yep. It didn't make any sense, but some people, man. Yeah, some people just, they have different convictions, and different priorities, and some people don't think about things and they don't care.
It's just going to continue to get worse too the more we incentivize.
Well, the more that we go through the communist revolution, you're going to have a bunch more idiots that's just walking around. They're all entitled.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of red guard idiots. And the more that these places hire these people, the worse it is. If no one hired them, it's a non-issue.
Yep.
They have zero power if they don't get hired,
Yep.
But they're getting hired.
Well, think about even from a business owner's perspective, think about the liabilities of hiring some of these people. Like you get a 18, 19-year-old nowadays, and they're, someone misgenders them and they fly off the handle. You as a business owner, you're going to have to come up with some sort of marketing strategy to spin this so that way it looks your company look good.
Yep.
But nowadays, with the way things are polarized, however you made your company look good to one demographic, it looks terrible to the other.
Yep.
And so
Look at Bud Light, man.
yeah, well, yeah. Bud Light's a good one. Target is a good one right now.
Target.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. The liability of hiring some of these people when they're flying off the handle because you just said something that they don't agree with.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's what I'm like. Just maybe it's our age. Like maybe that's where we're at now. We're at hiring manager age.
Yeah, maybe.
Or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
But it's like I get exactly what you're talking about because it's like, yeah, I look at a lot of these people. It's like I don't know what role or function you're going to have with society that's going to be beneficial because everything they prove to do is negative and tears down society. That's why I say they're just communist revolutionaries, man.
Yeah, and like
the
I
best
said,
they can do.
Yeah, and like I said, there is a responsibility on the employer to make sure that they lay out what the expectations are for the position. Because
100%.
Yeah, because
that
I
whole
don't
little asterisk at the end and any duties assigned not included.
Exactly.
Per supervisor. That whole crap. That's pretty crap.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Because that's basically what they hide behind, and they're like, "Well, your supervisor asked you to do it, and you didn't do it, so we're gonna fire you."
Yep. Yeah, I think that is the least ethical thing you can do when hiring somebody is not telling them what your expectations are for them to earn their paycheck. Yeah. And you see a lot of it nowadays. I mean, granted, I haven't applied for a job in too many places recently, but you talk to people and it's like they're leaving jobs because of, there was 20 things that were expected of them that they didn't even know pertained to the job. They had no idea that they were going to have to do such a thing. So it's crazy. I don't know where tie this into economy. The more problems
tie
we
it
have,
right in there, dude.
Yeah, well, I mean, the more that people don't have jobs, the more that people find it either more difficult to hire people or for people to find jobs, the worse the economy gets. Because then we're incentivized, we're giving handouts is a bad word, but we're giving people money to try to stay afloat while they're not working. Yeah. And then we're just printing more money to try to.
And let's one up it too and say that some of these people are in charge of critical infrastructure and don't know how it operates and are just put into that position because of we needed someone to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, now that we're a DEI company, we needed gay, black, Latino.
Right. Yeah.
To do it, and it's like, and this is where we're at, man. It's incompetent. Boeing planes parts are just flying off in the sky. I'm worried because like we're kind of over a plane route. I'm kind of worried. Yeah. Every time I start hearing a plane, I'm I get a little like I don't know.
I live maybe
Breaking Bad. What are we doing?
Right? Breaking. Yeah.
It was in a show already, so it's gonna happen.
Yeah, dude. I remember. I live 2 miles away from an airport,
Yeah,
and
but it's a tiny little.
It is. Sure, it is. But they get big planes in there fairly
Trump
frequently.
Comes in, that's about the biggest plane they'll get.
No. They'll get jets. They actually have passenger planes that actually pick up passengers.
Really?
Yeah, out of that airport. Yeah, it's weird.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It's not. I
didn't even know that was a thing that they could do.
Right. I didn't either. Actually,
that was like one of those little private runways. If you
kind of like a hobby, like a hobby or like a corporation. That's what I thought too.
Exactly.
But we actually found this out. There are some passenger airplanes that will stop in that at that airport to pick up passengers every once in a while.
Nice.
But we do get decent sized jets through there.
And the one by me is mostly a terminal for like UPS and Amazon, but they do the same. There's a couple flights I know they do to Vegas. I don't know where else they go, but it's for sure a Vegas flight. It might not even be anything else. That might be like the only place to go. But it's like, and you know how many people are ordering stuff off Amazon. So there's constant flights going on, UPS, Amazon, whatever. I always do that flight radar. Just to see what it is.
Just to see what's above you.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. That's a crazy app, man. There's a lot of stuff in the sky.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yep. You don't even see them sometimes. I mean, they're so high up.
sometimes you hear them because it's like, do you know where the airport is?
Yeah. Right.
You're
Right.
not there yet, man.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I really just hate that they're just saying that the economy's fine and that it's just not, and they're just lying. They're just lying with the numbers.
Well, the more we ignore it, the less we can fix it.
They're normalizing it, man. That's
Yep.
all they're doing.
Yep.
So, Trump 2024.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, that's the choice now. There's no other
Right.
options at this point.
right. Yeah, I mean,
I guess
honestly,
you
I just had this
can vote for
conversation.
RFK.
Well, you could vote for other people, but I mean, I'm not going to say that's a waste of vote because at the end of the day, voting shouldn't be a popularity contest. So people should be encouraged to people should be encouraged to vote for who they think should be the best,
Just Trump.
I'm not going to disagree with
No.
you. I'm not going to
Look,
fully
man,
agree with you, but
and that's the weirdest thing because I'm normally 100% like exactly like you.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, yeah, everybody to their own. You got to vote for who you believe for. But it's like right now, it's like if you don't vote for Trump, dude, I don't know what's wrong with
Yeah,
you because like
yeah.
we have one option to fix things right now, and it's like if you vote for Biden, man, oof. I don't know, like
that's
you're
where
just
I'm at.
like we're so screwed, like right now.
yeah, where I'm
And
at.
honestly, I think they're gonna pull the exact same thing they pulled last time, and I think that they're gonna do it again. And I think because part of the whole Agenda 2030 plan was that mass chaos would ensue in multiple countries, and the UN would be called upon to become the peacekeepers of basically the world. Henceforth, a globalization
Yeah,
process, New World Order kind of just enters the fray. It
Right.
just happens.
Vote for Trump or else this happens to you.
Vote for Trump, or else P. Diddy will do what he did to Meek Mill? Mac Mill? I don't even know, man. These rappers are so gay. Do you know, I saw a video of Tupac before he became Tupac. He's like a theater gay, like art nerd.
Did you play the
Really?
video?
No, I'm not going to click that. I almost did, though. But then I realized they didn't hear what you said, and I realized how horrible it would. By the way, I'm talking to Joey, so
Yeah.
just so it doesn't come off of me as me being
Yeah.
schizophrenic or something. I almost hit the P. Diddy leaked audio footage, and sometimes we got to prepare for it.
yeah,
It's a bad one.
I don't know. I think
You can't talk about that audio now without playing it, right?
I'm not gonna play
people
it.
have heard the audio.
People
on
have heard
our
the audio?
episodes.
Okay, well, I'll just play it then right now. So here he is, fucking his shit.
Good Lord.
There he goes. That slapping noise, I like to believe, is the balls.
Oh, good Lord.
It's just a cock clapping in the background.
yeah.
It's just
Someone
Joey clapping in the background.
It's Joey clapping.
All right, well, yeah, man.
Yeah,
I think that's going to kind of wrap up the economy talk because I think if we keep kind of getting into some of this stuff, and I do appreciate that we talked about a little bit of work, kind of attitudes and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really think that was even going to come into play, but it will get me aggravated because the economy's shit. And,
It is
they
aggravating.
keep lying, and just please don't fall for the crap.
Yeah.
For the love of God, don't fall for it.
I think one of the reasons that we get so upset though too is because we genuinely want to see people doing well. We want to see people
100%.
having some sort of success, and when people are being incentivized to just stay home and just ignore the fact that they need any sort of success in their lives, that's what gets me. That's what gets
Yeah.
my blood boiling, because at the end
We
of the
all
day,
need purpose.
yeah,
It's good for humans.
Yep, that's what we could attribute some of the suicide rates that have been
100%.
going up and up and up. But
Oh, sorry for saying 100%. That's supposedly now is a white supremacist slogan.
give me a break. Let's
another one of
let's
those
move on to
things.
what we're drinking, Kyle.
So I went with the Leinenkugel Summer Shandy.
It's always a good one.
It's always a good one. The cans, kind of switch it up from the bottles. That's about the only change I made, but
Yeah.
it is just as delicious as ever.
Oh yeah,
What
Summer
are you drinking over there?
I'm sipping on some Berry Weiss. So
Also Leinenkugels.
from Leinenkugels. Yep, this is a good one. I actually had to give this one another shake because the first time I tried it, I was really not very versed on beer at all, and so I tried this, and it was heavy and sweet, and I didn't like it at all. But I'm fully enjoying it.
Yeah.
Today.
I've always liked that one.
It's pretty sweet. It's on the sweeter side, but it's good.
I want to say the only Leinenkugels I have not tried is their just run of the mill, kind of like their Coors Banquet, like they're just
like they're just
beer.
like regular lager.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever. I don't know. I'd have to. I don't think I have.
Maybe that'll be next time.
Yeah, I know
We'll have to
they've
look
got.
some up.
I know they've got a couple other just like
It's
regular
like Honey Weiss, Berry Weiss.
I just saw one that was their amber ale.
Okay.
That we
don't
could
think
try
I
that
tried
next time.
Yeah, we'll try that one.
Yeah.
Well, hey, spoiler alert for next time.
Yeah. Oh, canoe paddle. Canoe paddle is one.
Oh, canoe paddler.
Yeah, that one's a good one that I've tried.
I can't even remember.
And
what
I've
that
tried
tastes
their Oktoberfest. That's always pretty good.
like. Staghorn, right?
No.
no,
Leinenkugels
no.
is Oktoberfest.
It is Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
That's
New Glarus.
Another favorite.
My favorite Oktoberfest beer. But
Yeah, Staghorn is my favorite. That is. Oh man, I can't wait for October already.
I know. I look forward to it every year.
But well, thanks for joining us again on another episode of Common Sense and Beer with Zach and Kyle. We'll just see you next time. Thanks for joining us.